Evening, guys. Take a show of hands. Come to as many of you as we can. Start with Simon, please.
Hi, Pat. Was that a point, one or two drops?
That's what it is. Of course, it would be better to win, but Old Trafford is Old Trafford, and always you have been a good performance. And now United was a transition team, like before we rushed for Garnacho and play quick. Ruben was going to try to make a good build-up, a good process. I think we defended really well. Defensively, of course, all the situations was, well linked with Højlund and switch of play, and after they are dangerous, and especially when you lose the balls in the positions like we are not good, they could run, and it was dangerous for that. But always we had our chances. Second half, the first our best moment, so nothing to say in the fact that I saw many good things in the last two games and today again in terms of the passion without the ball that we lost many times this season for many reasons. But with the ball, our strength always will be in the positional and right spots, and we lost it today. We were not in the right position to hurt them more than we hurt them. So, but it's fine. We take the point and move forward.
Davida?
Tactically, the way you are playing your team, is this the way moving forward until Erling comes back?
No.
You are thinking about changing? Was this a production of who you were thinking?
No, it depends. Depends on how they play. I played with wingers last game. I played with a lot of midfielders players against Bournemouth. Today also we played with two strikers, a little bit more wider than central. So it depends when I wake up in the morning.
Sam?
You're very happy last week at Bournemouth after that performance and result. Are you still feeling the confidence for that run?
Yeah. We lost it. We try to, yesterday with training, we try to practice one concept that to try to hurt them. So we played many times in many years. Teams defend 5-4-1, lose the ball and run. So we knew that they make high pressing, and after that they are able to defend so deep and make the transition. All have been since I arrived here 9 years ago. Ruben want to try to impose from Onana. I think we defend really well. At home, our home game when we lost 1-2 was completely different. They make better process that they had done it today. But it was more for the fact, you have to play in one tempo and be in the position and have to accelerate the game. And we could not accelerate it because we were not in the right position. And that's why today we missed a little bit our tempo, create more chances. Of course, Phil had one clear, 2 or 3 shoots for Kevin, one from Omar, and of course they had the chances, especially in transition. But I think it's fair enough. So 1 point and move forward.
Just ask as well, Phil had a few chances aimed at him over the course of the game.
Sorry?
Phil had a few chances aimed at him over the course of the game. Obviously, derbies are always a bit fiery, but then maybe across the line.
What the chance? To him?
Yeah.
Lack of class. But it's not United, it's the people, The people is... We are so exposed, the people who's now in the screen, in the world football, managers, owners, and football players especially, is honestly, I don't know, understanding the mind of the people, be involved, the man from field, be involved in that. So it's lack of category, class, and they should be ashamed. But it's what it is. So it's happening everywhere, I would say, not just in UK, in everywhere.
How concerned are you about Champions League qualification?
Nothing. Right now, nothing. 8 games, Crystal Palace, we go for it.
You're still very confident that you can?
I prefer to have 10 more points or 12 more points. 5, 6 or 7 games left, we will already qualify. But it's what it is. So it's Old Trafford. Always it's difficult for the derby, so we fought and we were there and the players gave everything. It just the lecture a little bit that we should attack a little bit more fluidity. We miss it because the people say, we have to move more. No, we have to move less. Move less.
Can I just ask, are you seeing enough of City this season to make you think that you can be back to what you were next season?
Next season I'm not concerned right now, no 1 second. So I'm just concerned about recover Crystal Palace, and after the games we have in Everton and Aston Villa, FA Cup semi-finals, all the games ahead of us to win. That is going to try to do.
Brad, at the back.
Do you think you needed more offensive aggression from Mateus today on the right, especially?
He can become a good right back for the physicality. I think he's not a player to play in the middle because he's not enough clever in the composer. Having incredible skills, and he's learning a lot. You know, the fullbacks always have a big mistake is when the cross for the far post where you are, always they are sleeping. And he defends really well at 2 or 3 crosses like Bruno put in the far post with Dorgu, and his attention have something, the physicality do it. But yeah, he can play in that position. He helps us a lot. So when you start in the season and you tell me decisive if you're going to play Mateus or right back and Nico left back, you would tell me what I'm talking about. So, but the season was what it is, and Mano Kanji is coming back. Of course, you have 2 young central defenders, but the last 3 games, the back 4 today again they were excellent. So Ruben was incredible, Josko as well. Except the last 20 minutes, I was tired because he's a young and play every 3 days, also for 4 days, always is new for him. But he played really, really good, and yeah, we built from that.
James.
Obviously, it's been a difficult season for the team and individuals for lots of different reasons. Just back on the Villa guys, he's had such an impact on this fixture for several seasons. Obviously, last year, outstanding. Just today, he looks like a player and has for a long time this season. It looks like he's carrying him away. It looks like he's lacking a lot of confidence.
No, I'm not agreeing. Listen, when the team is not playing in the level, the standard we had, looks like, and everyone looks like, not what we were. I feel there's no doubt. I see every training session, the passion they put, he's smiling his face. This is what I want. He's smiling his face and playing like through it. Of course, the impact has not been, but not from field. If you see the numbers in the last 4, 5, 6 years, the many players are here in terms of goal assists. This season we dropped incredible in all of them. It's not one. One will be easy. It's all of them. And that's why we were struggling, to create or win games and so on. But the quality is there. And sometimes, in a long career, always you have seasons that you are not. Maybe in a season, right the peak in terms of the best player of the Premier League. He won the Premier League in the last games. Last game against, you remember, West Ham. Won the game with 2 goals, and his impact was incredible. And he will be back. And you know how fouled, and at the end had the chances. Had to shoot in the first half. These chances that normally feel tack. You make when the ball is in the net, and the control was not perfect, or the defender was quick. It happened. So, but now it's not about the judge here. There, okay, we are who we are that season. We knew it, and okay, FA Cup semi-finals, 8 games left, and everyone's going to give everything. I'm learning for the guys who played every single game, the guys who come from the bench, how impact is in the game, and this kind of stuff for the future decisions. It is going to do.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Hi guys.
Okay, so.
Ruben, was that a little bit like Nottingham Forest in that you played really well in patches? You didn't concede a goal this time, but you still didn't look like scoring a goal.
Yeah, I think again we create some chances. The game was completely different from Nottingham, of course, against a different opponent, but we had the same lack of goal. We create situations. Sometimes we did it well, and Ederson was there. So it's really important to score goals to win football matches.
Hi, Ruben. You didn't want to come in midway through the season. Are we now, because you did come in obviously midway through the season, are we now seeing the benefits of you working these players for longer? Do you think there'll be a benefit for next season because of that, even if not ideal in the moment?
In the moment, it's still really hard every day. But of course, you can imagine that next season is going to be so much different. That's why I'm always saying that I'm in the rush. So because we are suffering a lot, everybody here is suffering a lot with all these changes, and we have to show something in the next year. So right away. If not, I have the feeling that all this that is happening in this moment, we are not taking advantage. So I think that is important thing. In the good days, you think like that. It was important to come season, to work with the players, to improve the players as soon as possible, to start the next season with the better idea what we want. So and today was that day that we play well. Of course, you can feel it in the game. Is not there in the top level, the intensity, but you can also understand the context of both teams in this moment.
Hi Ruben, the last two home games now in the league against Arsenal and Manchester City, it felt like the team's improved as the game has gone on, really. Does that show that maybe you're a better team in the league table is showing this year for all that's gone wrong? And does it help with that belief that maybe when you get things right, you can compete with these teams, and the players are kind of learning that during the game almost, from about the second half, they're kind of like, yeah, we can do this?
Sometimes every game has his story. We need to sometimes to give time to the team to understand the game and then to face the game. If you remember the first games at home, we suffered a goal in the first 10 minutes, and that can change the momentum, can change the way we face the game. The strategy is we have to forget the strategy because we are 1-0 down in the first minutes. I think these players proved not just this season but in the seasons before that when they are like this, really focused, they can win any game.
Laurie.
Casemiro wasn't in your team for a period before, but now he seems to be, a pretty major feature of it. What does that show for next season? Obviously, he's got 1 year left on his contract. He said he wants to stay, but he's on big wages. How has he come back into your thinking?
We need the important thing is that Casemiro he won everything with Real Madrid. He wasn't playing because I understood in the moment that he was not the best option to the way we want to play, but he continued to work. So I look at my players in the same way. If you work, if you improve what we ask of them, they have the opportunity. If they play well, they continue. So that was the situation of Casemiro. The credit is all the player. So he's our player and continue to be our player.
Dave.
Gary Neville was quite critical, I think, in his analysis after the game, saying that both sets of players looked too happy with the point, that there wasn't enough passion, they should be more disappointed in not winning. He called it a love-in between both sides. Can you understand that perspective, that derby games should have more passion and more kind of blood and thunder, he said?
I understand everything. I understand that Gary Neville is critical about everything, so I understand that part. And then I understand that we are not fighting. We are in the moment that we are doing the worst season in history. Manchester City won everything in the past. This season is struggling. So we are not in the best moments to give the best spectacle to every fans. And then when we are not fighting for the big things, of course it's different. But you have to look at the context of the game, and I understand the critical aspect of the players that played in this game in a different way, because they were fighting every time for the titles. So it's a different context.
Last question, Rob.
Hi Ruben. I know that you said before that you don't want to be a team that plays on in transition to a low block. You feel the players are more comfortable playing in that way right now. Pep has been in and said that for the last 9 years he was here that United have always been a transitional team, always played the best way when they're playing like that. Does that show how tough it is going to be for you to turn it around? You're not just sort of turning from 1 or 2 seasons, you're talking about sort of a decade of playing like that, and you're not trying to turn it around and play more on the front foot.
That I can say that we want to be competitive in the short space of time. But to do that, to be really dominant against any opponent, is going to take a lot of time. That I can say. So we have to use different weapons of playing a different style, when we face different opponents. And in that way of playing, City is maybe the best team in the world, and they are doing, like you said, for a while. But the important thing is that if you compare this game against the Arsenal, we had some moments that we did the same a little bit to City, and against Arsenal we didn't do. Was clearly transitions. Today was a little bit different. So it's we are improving, but to play in this way that they play for many years is going to take a long time.
Thank you. Thank you.